Hey, what's up, guys? Wanted to talk to y'all about a story that I personally heard about yesterday. And this is the incident that happened in Moore County, North Carolina, near what they're calling now Fort Liberty, which was previously known as Fort Bragg, which is known as the home of the Army Special Forces or Special Operations, whatever you want to call it. So this happened on May 3rd. And this was around 8:15 p.m. So a special operations soldier is under investigation in Moore County after officials say he shot and killed a utility worker who was taking photographs on his property on May 3rd. That's according to the Moore County Sheriff's Office. Now keep in mind that Moore County was also the location where the substation attacks happened that affected a good portion of the power grid in that area. I think it was last year. There was those two separate attacks on equipment and substations and causing multiple day power outage for the folks in that area. And again, this area is inhabited by a lot of folks that are serving in the United States military and based out of Fort Bragg, now known as Fort Liberty. So a lot of special operations, a lot of military personnel and families and stuff in that general area. That's just something to be aware of. So the guy that was shot and killed, Ramzan Dariev or some shit, Chechnyan national, 35 years old, of Chicago. He died in the shooting and was reported about 8:15 p.m. outside a home in Carthage, North Carolina. The soldier's name was not released. It probably won't be unless he's charged or something maybe, but I'm thinking that that may not be what is going to happen. I guess we will see. Anyway, the sheriff's department said Dariev was in the area working as a subcontractor for Utilities One. According to a news release, a 911 caller reported someone was taking photographs and had become aggressive towards another resident outside their home. So when law enforcement arrived on the scene shortly after 8:30 p.m., they found Dariev with gunshot wounds, multiple gunshot wounds, lying near a power line approximately 250 yards from the road onto the property. Identification was not found on this man. However, his identity was later confirmed through family members and an international identification located in his vehicle. He was reportedly working as a subcontractor for Utilities One, which is a company based in New Jersey. This according to the sheriff's office. According to the company's website, their contractors work on infrastructure for telecommunications, electric and gas, utilities, and wireless carriers, blah, blah, blah. Excuse me. So investigators are still working to verify his official employment status. So they don't even really know yet, or they aren't saying whether he even works for these folks or anything like that. At the time of the incident, he was not in possession of any utility equipment, utility clothing, or identification from any sort of a company that would suggest that he was working in some sort of an official capacity for one of these utility companies. On that, I've been working in the utility industry in some capacity or another for over a decade. And you gotta be able to identify yourself, especially when you're in and around people's properties. It's already, typically you do stuff like that during traditional hours. But a lot of times, like in the electrical industry, working on the power grid and stuff like that, you may be out there at it could be at any point in time. And you may be there for a problem at a neighbor's house and have to, traverse 2 or 3 adjacent properties to figure out what's going on. You just never know. So it's important that you display identifying markers. That way you don't have, guns drawn on you and stuff like that. I've seen all that stuff over the years. It's best to, conduct yourself as a guest at these people's property because you are just there, even though you may be on official business for a utility company, which I'm not sure these guys were. You still better, have your ducks in a row, or you could end up getting yourself into a shitty situation if you're not careful. So, traffic vest, hard hat, credentials on you, these are generally company policies that are in place to keep you and the public safe. Probably a good idea to adhere to some of that stuff. But anyway, that's just my 2 cents on that, because it is kind of directly related to the industry that I am a part of and have been for quite some time. So investigators are still working, blah, blah, yeah. Okay, at the time of the incident, he didn't have anything, no identification, etc. The shooting was reported to the U.S. Department of Labor, Occupational Safety and Health Administration. Okay, the Sheriff's Office said the Federal Bureau of Investigations was called in to provide a translator to assist with interviews of other reported Utilities One employees. Investigators are diligently working to gather all relevant information prior to concluding the investigation, including autopsy reports and findings from the Chief Medical Examiner's Office. The release said once all facts have been collected and reviewed, the case will be presented to the District Attorney's Office for determination on whether criminal charges will be pursued. So at this point, according to this particular story, the colonel, and he is a colonel, is what the stories are saying. Some of them are saying that he's a colonel in the United States Army. He has not been charged at this point in time. They interviewed him, and I guess that he is home with his family, I would assume. But he has not been charged as of yet, to my knowledge. The release said the Moore County Sheriff's Office is committed to conducting a thorough and impartial investigation. It says that his family, the Dariev, his family created an online petition, said that he was taking photographs on the property to show work he completed, which is kind of odd. Also, like if you're there after the fact of doing work, why did you go back in the evening, not readily identifiable, and you're taking photographs? Because the initial report says that the colonel from the Special Forces said that the guy was there taking pictures of like his kids or something. So that's what kind of got this ball rolling. According to the colonel in the Army Special Forces, he said that the guy was taking photographs of his family, and that's why he went and approached and said, hey, you know, I guess what's going on, blah, 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 or anything along those lines. And then things kind of took a left turn. So then, yeah, they're saying, this is the family, they're saying, for an unknown reason, this man fired several shots and brutally took the life of Ramzan. Said that he left Russia not realizing that the greatest injustice against him, blah, 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 a bunch of other bullshit that I don't really buy into. You can read the story for yourself. This is kind of an opinion piece. I'm reading most of the story. I will post a link for it if you guys want to read it for yourself. You can form your own opinions, but you're here watching me, so you probably want to know what I think, and that's what I'm giving you. It goes on to state that the shooter was released after a short interview with law enforcement, that Dariev was shot in the hands, twice in the back, and in the face. So for what that's worth. Again, all this information is probably subject to change multiple times, so take that with a grain of salt. A spokesperson with the United States Army Special Operations Command said the soldier involved is a member of Special Operations Command. Per policy, they do not comment on active investigations to protect the process of integrity. More, government talking points. So also another thing that I think was probably noteworthy is that there was also reports that, like I said, these two guys were Chechen, and apparently there was two of them, and one of them, I guess, remained in the vehicle the whole time. They apprehended him for questioning, investigated, questioned him, and then he was released, as far as I know, or as far as what the information that they released publicly says. They also found 2 cell phones with Russian language contacts and camera equipment. They were not wearing any uniforms and all that stuff, as I stated earlier. And let's see. Also, sources tell Fox News, this is from Fox News, this is a different news article with a little bit more stuff. Most of the articles seem to be saying the same thing, but just a little bit of variation. But the story is pretty much the same as far as, I guess, what's been released from the officials that are overseeing the investigation. It says that power company employment is often a cover for status and action that U.S. intelligence agents use for surveillance of foreign targets overseas, which makes perfect sense because, generally speaking, in the power industry, like electrical distribution, transmission, you have access to a lot of places. Pretty much everywhere there's people, there's power lines and infrastructure associated with the delivery of electricity. So you can get into a lot of places. You can get into a lot of places without a lot of people questioning and wondering what's going on or why you're there. It's pretty much assumed why you're there, especially if you're wearing uniform and you look the part. So that's the way it is. You get kind of a lot of somewhat unrestricted access to a lot of different property and locations and stuff like that, because it is critical infrastructure, and that just comes along with that line of work. I can definitely attest to that. So in a separate incident, like I mentioned before, 18 months ago, Moore County experienced mysterious shooting attack that targeted 2 electrical distribution substations, left 40,000 people without electricity for nearly 2 weeks. So again, same area, some more kind of odd occurrences, potentially, probably, likely, maybe targeting our special forces folks here stateside. I don't know. I'll leave that up to you to speculate on your own, and and I guess when all more information comes out. All right, so it says members of Special Operations community are asking why 2 Russian-speaking Chechens were taking photos near an elite Army Special Forces residence at 8:15 p.m. on a Friday night, some 10 minutes after sunset, and why the FBI is not leading the investigation. And that is a very good damn question. Again, a lot of this stuff just doesn't pass the smell test, and I don't just think that there's a lot of coincidences. I don't really trust any of this shit that goes on, and I kind of look at all of it with a questioning attitude. That's just me. I pretty much assuming that, that there's some nefarious shit afoot when we got situations like this going on. But that's just, like I said, that's my position. And one more thing I wanted to mention real quick while I got you here is that they said also to I think the same day, and I can't find it right here in front of me, but they said the same day, I believe, there was 2 Jordanian nationals that tried to breach the Marine Corps base at Quantico in Virginia. So again, more foreign nationals doing odd shit on U.S. soil, potentially targeting our military members while they're here stateside, and like the case in Moore County, potentially targeting their families, gathering intelligence, maybe planning something more in depth or more sinister. I don't know. It just seems that way. So I guess we will see in the coming weeks or months or whatever if there's any charges brought against this colonel from the Army. And I guess that will be interesting to figure out, kind of what the official position is on that. But as of right now, like I said, I don't think he's been charged so far. And I guess that's just something we'll have to kind of wait on that other shoe to drop. But there's a lot of weird stuff going on. We got a whole lot of people in our country that we don't know who they are, where they came from. They can come in here and assume different identities and do all kinds of just, underhanded type of shit behind the scenes. And I think that this is probably something that we're going to see more of going forward, because again, we don't know who's been coming in our country for the last few years through our open southern border. And I think it's going to lead to a whole host of issues. But I guess in summary, I think that as Americans, we still have to, I think it's important that we have certain lines drawn. And I think that, if you got people that think that they're going to come here in our country and try to harass or attack or do harm to our armed forces members and their families here on U.S. soil, then I think that that's something that just absolutely is not something that we should be tolerating at all. And it would appear to me that this particular situation, these guys looked to me like they were fucking around, and we know what comes along with that. So I guess we'll see. Hopefully this is eye-opening for you guys. Like I said, it seems like this story was kind of muffled or suppressed a little bit because it just, like I said, May 3rd this happened. It's almost the end of the month. You know, it's almost June now. And it seems to me that this stuff is just now really kind of getting out there. Or maybe it was just one of those ones that just kind of got overlooked for the most part and didn't really get talked about a whole lot in the mainstream media, which I don't really typically watch the news anyway. But again, very odd. And this is something that I will definitely be monitoring going forward. And I would not be surprised if we unfortunately see more situations like this unfold as things go on. Because like I said, we just don't know who the hell's in here. And we got people from countries that have always hated us and never had our best interests at heart. And we got probably tens, maybe even hundreds of thousands of those folks here from different countries, China, all throughout the Middle East, apparently Russia, Chechnya, whatever the hell. I just don't, something's gotta change, but I guess we'll see. I'm out, guys.